Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wavy Pod. My name's Lucia, and I'm your host. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing something that popped up a lot on my For You page, which essentially that's literally all I do with my spare time. I am on TikTok. I am a TikTok stan. Like, I spend a lot of my time just like scrolling through, and I like to see the trends. I like to see what happens. I like to see what people talk about. One of the things that I did notice that was trending is this one specific video of this guy asking, do people who don't care about what others think actually truly don't care about what others think, or are they just faking it and just saying that? So I have a lot of experience when it comes to this, because I was the type of person who was constantly caring about what other people thought and just considering other people's opinions and being a people pleaser and making sure that everybody else around me was taken care of and just acting upon what other people thought, which is terrible, right? And it doesn't just come to that extent. It's actually a lot more than that, because it's also affecting you in the sense that if you want to be doing something, you're consistently thinking about, okay, like, what is my dad going to think about that? What is my mom going to think about that? What are my friends going to think about that? And then when you're doing things in public, like, oh my God, all these people are going to be thinking that I'm crazy or that I'm weird or whatever it is, or your friends, oh my God, what if I do that? My friends are going to be thinking that. So you're constantly overthinking all these crazy possibilities of what other people could potentially think of you, and therefore you don't act upon what you do want to act on. Okay, which is crazy. It's like, when you put it into words, it's crazy to think about, but that's the actual reality for a lot of people. And I want to start out by saying that the second you are giving your energy into what other people are thinking about you or judging you for, or anything that has to do with that, the second that you give your energy towards that, you become a slave of that. So essentially how it works is that something happens, right? And we're the ones that decide what that thing is going to be. We're the ones that put the emotion towards it. We're the ones that put that meaning towards that thing. Okay, because that thing is neutral. Nothing happened to that thing. We're the ones deciding. The second that we make it into something, we're giving it meaning, we're giving it a life, we're giving it a type of energy. So we're the ones creating it into something, making it into whatever it is that we want it to be. So in our heads, we're thinking like, okay, that person is potentially going to think that I am not worthy enough of going to theater school, because if I go to theater school, I'm going to be broke for the rest of my life. So that's us just thinking that. We don't know if people are actually thinking that, because we haven't taken the time to ask the people that are most important to us whether they would think that or not. We haven't even gotten to that point, and you're already making scenarios in your head of what could potentially happen, right? So the next time you do that, just take into consideration, like, am I making these scenarios in my head? Why am I making these scenarios in my head? And know that we are free beings. We have the capability of taking back whatever energy we gave to that thing, and turning it into something else and creating it into something else. You don't have to let that thing make you a slave of that, make you a slave of it, because essentially that's what happens. Essentially, like, something happens and then we decide that we're going to be super upset or shy or timid, and we become a slave of that scenario, because that's our new reality, and that is what is making us, or what is stopping us from doing the things that we want to be doing. But we're not slaves. We're free. We can do whatever the heck we want. So we're literally creating this whole scenario in our head. And next time it happens, just remember that. Remember that you have the capability of changing that scenario however you want it to. You have the capability of seeing the good in people. You have the capability of making that scenario into something beautiful, because you made it bad to begin with. It was you. It was you all along. You understand what I'm saying? So that also brings me to the next point, in which when we are creating these scenarios in our heads, when we essentially say that that person is probably judging us, right? Like, imagine just in your head that you want to go outside and film a TikTok. This is just one example. And you're like, I cannot film a TikTok because people are going to judge me. That person, my neighbor, I can't go outside my house because my neighbor is going to judge me so hard if I film a TikTok. So if you're saying that about your neighbor, you're making the assumption that your neighbor is just a judgmental person, right? Like he's a mean person. But your neighbor didn't even do anything to begin with. So you're making that person judgmental and mean when you don't even know this person, when you don't even know if this person is going to be the most supportive person in the whole wide world. Like you don't even know if this person is going to be like, oh my God, you go, like that's amazing. Like I love that you were doing that video outside. You don't know that. You were just making that assumption of that person. And by you making that assumption of that person, you made them into a mean person. You made them into a judgmental person. And you are not to make people something terrible when they didn't even give you the idea that they were mean in the first place. And we should always be thinking that people around us, people that surround us, are beautiful and they have the best intentions in the world. The second they tell you otherwise by their actions and by their words, then you can change your opinion about them. But up until that moment that they actually show you by words and by actions, we should be thinking the best of people. We should not be thinking that that person's going to judge you because you don't know if that person's a judgmental person or not. You don't know if they're a mean person or not. So go ahead and do it and trust that that person is a beautiful human being that is supportive of others. And if they show you otherwise, then that's when you can make your new assumption. But don't make the assumption to begin with when you, again, in your head are creating all these narratives. And if they do show you that they're a mean person and that they're judgmental, then just know in your head that that's a reflection of whatever's going on with them. That's a reflection of like, okay, something's wrong with them. They're having a bad day. They're sad. Something bad happened to them. And therefore, they have to act in that way because they're projecting their insecurities. They're projecting whatever it is that they're feeling at that moment onto you. And that, again, has nothing to do with you. So the second that they do act mean or judgmental, just understand that it has nothing to do with you. It really doesn't. It has everything to do with them because they are the ones that have a bad day and they're projecting whatever it is that they're acting on the outside onto the world. That's exactly what they're feeling inside. You don't act a certain way without feeling that exact same thing inside of you. You act mean, you act judgmental because you feel insecure, because you feel all these things. So therefore you have to project that into other people. And so the second that you see that someone is actually judgmental and mean, know that it's actually so sad because they're so insecure that they have to do that. They have to compensate it by being mean, by being judgmental. So it's not you. You have nothing to do with it. And again, whenever we judge people and whenever we make people, whenever we judge people, we're projecting our insecurities onto them, right? Whenever we say something mean to a person, we were potentially having a terrible freaking day. And then we were mean to somebody else. So that's what people do. Remember, we have the control of creating the narratives of things that happen. Something happens and we put meaning into it. We bring it into life with a meaning, with an emotion, because we're emotional beings. And if something happens that is beyond your control, just remember that you can't do anything about it. It's beyond your control. So detach yourself from it as much as possible. And be selective with the things that you take importance into. If someone's judging you, like if you start paying attention to that, you're making that thing important. You have the capability of detaching yourself from that. You have the capability of choosing where to put your attention, what to make important to you, where to focus your attention. Like, do I want to focus my attention on the things that I want to be doing? For example, like the example that I said, I want to go outside and film a TikTok, but I'm afraid of my neighbors. So that attention should be going towards you filming the TikTok. It shouldn't be going towards what other people are going to be thinking. It shouldn't be going towards what my neighbor is going to be thinking. And we're capable in, like, just think about that for a second. Think about how we are free enough to do it. But we let our mind stop us. We let that scenario, that imaginary scenario that we created in our heads, that narrative that we created in our heads, we let that control us to the point where it's going to stop us from doing the things that we want to be doing. Like, just think about how crazy that actually sounds, right? Like, if we're free to do that, imagine if somebody actually wasn't free to do that. Like, imagine if someone actually didn't have the capability of doing it. The second they get the option to do it, they're going to go and do it. But you're free to do it whenever you want. So We take that for granted and pay attention to the things that actually don't matter. And we take that for granted and actually start creating all these narratives in our head and stop doing the things that we want to be doing. Like it's literally the craziest thing. The next point I want to make is that this goes hand in hand with the whole confidence episode that I did a week ago. So if you want to go back and listen to that episode, was it a week ago? Oh no, it was actually 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. So I made a whole episode about confidence and how to be your most confident version of yourself. And that goes hand in hand with not caring about what other people think. Because the second that you are a confident person and you know what you're worth and you know about yourself, you go about life in a very confident way. So you're secure about the things that you're going to be doing every single day. You're secure about the things that you're going to be doing, whether that's outside in front of a million people, or whether that's something that your family potentially didn't agree with, or whether that's you in your head thinking that everybody's looking at you. It doesn't matter. None of that matters, because you know what you're worth. You have the self-acceptance and the confidence to act upon the things that you want to be doing and not care about what other people think. And it's something that is very important, very, 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 very important to note, that it's actually something that I practice all the time, because it truly never really goes away. And that thing that I practice every single time is that no matter what, I'm going to do it. So whether I have the fear, whether I have that imaginative scenario in my head that tells me that all these people are going to be judging me, that it makes me scared, makes me shy, and I am considering not doing it, I still do it. Okay, even if I want to throw up and pass out because all these people are going to be thinking something about me, all these people are going to be judging me, and my parents are going to say this, and my family is going to say that, whatever. That's the second that I know that I need to go through with it, because I understand that it's something that I want to be doing. I understand that it's something that is going to fulfill my mission, fulfill my passion, fulfill the gifts that I have. And the only thing stopping me is myself and my fears and my anxieties, because I'm caring about what other people think. And so I remind myself, okay, that's exactly what's happening here. I make that connection, and then I do it regardless. I do it regardless of all of those feelings. I do it taking those feelings along with me. So I do that thing, and I'm super freaking nervous, but I still do it. I still get it done. You know what I mean? And so the second you get the ball rolling, the less you care. So at first you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I cannot believe I'm doing this. And you start stuttering and you can't really move fully, but then you keep going and it becomes so much easier. It becomes like breathing, essentially. It becomes something easy. And the more you do it, the more you practice this, the easier it's going to get. You just have to do it regardless of whatever feelings you have, regardless of whatever fears and anxieties you have. And push through and get it done, because next time you do it, it's going to be a lot easier. Now, another thing to consider is that you have the capability of shifting your perception of what is happening. Shifting your perception that if you show up confident, if you show up vulnerable, if you show up as you are, it becomes something that people are more accepting of. So let's say, for example, if you're walking and you trip and fall, okay, the second you say, holy crap, that really hurt. I hated that. I hate that happened to me. People are going to be like, oh my God, yeah, that sucks. I'm so sorry that happened to you. But if you trip and fall and then you run away because you were so scared of it, people are going to be like, oh my God, that person fell. Can you imagine? And this happens all the time. I'm telling you, if you accept your vulnerability, people are so accepting of it. You make it normal. You set the tone for the scene. And even if at the beginning it might seem a little bit weird, you have to keep being super persistent on your feeling towards that thing, that you make it okay for everybody else around you. You make it perfectly fine. You make it like, this is what it is. Take it or leave it, or like move on with your life, you know? This is what's happening. And I've seen it over and over and over and over again. I've hit myself in public and I'm like, holy crap, like, ow, that hurts so bad. And people are like, oh my God, are you okay? You know, but if I hit myself and then I'm like shy, trying to run away, they're like, oh, that girl hit herself. And it happens. I've seen it, you know, it happens with singing in public. I used to be shy about singing in public, and now I don't really care. I just sing all the time. I'm working out, I'm singing, I'm doing this, I'm singing. I think of a song and I'm singing. And that makes people think like, oh, we can sing here. It's okay to sing. So somebody else will start singing next to me, or they will smile, or I'll get some sort of feedback from them that says that they like it, that it's positive. And it's not like I can sing. I cannot sing for my life. I just sing out of pure happiness, out of pure joy, because I love it. And I make that scenario okay. I make that scenario of like, I know I can't sing, but I just like singing and I like this song. And everybody else around me can feel that. They can feel that scenario, that thing that I'm doing is totally okay because I'm making it okay. I'm making it okay for everybody to do it. I'm very accepting of it. And so everybody else does it. It happened at the gym this morning, for example. I work out and I sing because it helps me to push through with whatever music they have. So I'm working out and I'm literally like, da, 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 and like I'm singing, I'm doing push-ups and I'm singing because it helps me. And so the guy next to me started singing as well, like halfway through the workout. And then he was like, oh, that's a good song. And I'm like, yeah, like you make it okay. You make it comfortable for everybody else. You make it valid. And by showing your vulnerability, by showing your self-acceptance, you're showing everybody, you're setting the tone for everybody else of what's okay. Because people need that. They need that feedback. So be the one to set the tone. The next thing to think about is that we need to focus on inner fulfillment. We need to understand that when we're happy, when we're truly happy and it comes from within, the validation from the outside, the validation from people and everybody else around you does not really matter because you're truly happy with yourself. You're truly happy from within. And like superficial things are not the ones making you happy because you're already happy in here. You're already happy with what you have. You're already happy with who you are inside of you. So the external validation doesn't matter because you know who you are. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the confidence, with knowing who you are, your self-acceptance, and understanding that if you have the inner fulfillment, people's opinions do not matter. And if you're living a fulfilled life, you know your purpose, you know that you're supposed to be bringing your ideas to life. Because if not, you're a selfish person. Because you're depriving people of your gifts. You're depriving people of what you're supposed to be doing every single day. Because people need you. You're here for a reason. Whatever it is that you're doing to serve other people, whatever it is that you whatever gifts it is that you have, you're supposed to give them out to the world. You're supposed to show your ideas. You're supposed to grab all of those ideas that you have and bring them into life, bring them here on earth. And so the second that you stop doing that, because you're waiting on that external validation, because you're afraid of what people might think, because you're afraid of people judging you, then you're not going with your purpose. You're not going with what you're supposed to be doing. You're not following through with the ideas that you have and the ideas that you got from other sources. And so somebody else is going to take that idea. The way that I like to think about this, and this is a theory, is that we have a separate plane in this universe in which souls live. And these souls are so in love with Earth, and they're so in love with our art and our creativity that they give you the ideas that they want us to bring into life. So they're the ones telling us like, hey, create this. I'm giving you this idea because I want you to bring it into life. You're the perfect person to do this. So I want you to bring it into life in however way you think it's possible. So you get that idea and then you wait and then you wait and then you don't do it because you're scared and you don't do it because you're afraid of what other people are going to think. And so a few weeks go by and you see somebody else that exact idea that you had and you didn't even tell this person. What happened? That idea has a life and that idea felt that you weren't fulfilling it. So it went into somebody else. You see how crazy that is? And so next time you get the idea to do something, you got to do it regardless of your fears, of your anxieties, of other people judging you, of other people thinking something about you, because you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to get it done, or else somebody else is going to get it done for you. And you're depriving people of your gifts. Like, why do that? People need you. Again, that's selfish. The fact that you're depriving people. Those people you think might be judging you are the people that actually need for you to do that thing. Apparently, Michael Jackson used to do that. He used to ensure that he would spend the most amount of time at the studio to ensure that all of his ideas were fulfilled, because he thought that the second that he didn't bring those ideas to life, they were going to go to Prince. So learn from him. Learn from him. This episode was super short, quick, and easy. I just got the idea for it and I'm like, you know what? Let's film it. Why not? Why not? I have everything super fresh in my head. Might as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I love talking about all these things with you, especially things that I have been able to overcome and things that I have been practicing for a good chunk of my life and that have made me who I am, and to be able to like live my dream life as well. So if you guys have any other questions, any recommendations, any ideas, you can always DM me. You can always let me know what you think. And yeah, I'm wishing you a beautiful morning, afternoon, night, whenever it is that you're watching or listening to this. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.